Hey everybody, Dr. Moser here, Structure Chiropractic, the Wellness Way in Pittsburgh. I'm back, and Megan and I and Hoyt have been traveling abroad for the past couple of weeks. And one of the questions that I had received on one of the videos that I did was how do you travel abroad and eat based off of your food allergies? And one of the coolest things about any other country besides the United States is they actually take food allergies very, very, very seriously. So for those of you who don't know, Megan and I, we flew from here to Canada to London first, and then London to Florence, and Florence to Rome. So we were all around these awesome areas, and every single area took food allergies seriously, which was fantastic. So whenever we would go out to the store, we'd be able to see, even if we didn't know what the language said, we'd have bold words as to what our food allergies or what the food allergies were that were in those ingredients. The other awesome thing is that food abroad is not the same as the food that we receive here. The food we get here is garbage across the board unless you're making it yourself from scratch. And that's more or less how everyone makes food overseas. They make it from scratch. They don't put all the extra stuff in it because they don't expect it to last on the shelf for a long period of time. Now, what we noticed, and it actually blew us away, is that when we were over there, we landed in London, and we were trying to find a healthy place to eat. And we wanted to go around, and we were kind of in like a rougher area of London, even though it was fantastic, very close to everything, it was kind of rougher. So we're like, where the heck are we going to find this stuff? We're seeing all kinds of, ethnic food going up and down the street, just a lot of fried stuff, and like, this just doesn't resonate with us very well. And then I found some little pathway that led me into this beautiful little quad. It had an amazing spread of restaurants the whole way through. So I'm going through. The first night we ordered a salad from this restaurant, this bar really. Ordered a salad, got some healthy food, brought it back to the room. The next night we went back into that area again because I'm a creature of habit. Whenever I figure out something that's good, I want to go back to that location. And there was so much to offer there that I went into this restaurant, and it was called Pizza Express. If you hear Pizza Express, and this isn't an advertisement for them, but what would you think if it was Pizza Express? You'd think some crappy Pizza Hut joint that's just shoving pizza out the door, and it's going to be horrible quality. It's not true. When we walked in there, or actually we saw the menus on the outside, it had all the food allergies listed on there and all kinds of different healthy options. Gluten-free, vegan, any kind of allergen you could possibly think of was written out on this menu. So we go in there just expecting to get just a gluten-free, dairy-free pizza. And we ended up getting so much food because they had all of the food allergies written on there, and they took it very, very, very seriously. Now, in the United States, when you know what your food allergies are, one of the hardest things to do is go out to eat. And when you're going out to eat, you have to constantly apologize for your food allergies. And you have to be like, well, I'm allergic to black pepper, I'm allergic to this, I'm allergic to that, I'm sorry, but I have to make sure that this isn't on my food, otherwise it's going to cause massive inflammation in my body. So we actually made that mistake. We apologized because we're just the Americans going over into London and Italy, and we apologized. We're like, we're sorry, but we just can't do this. And they're like, what are you apologizing for? You're allergic to it. It's going to hurt you. We don't want to hurt you, so we're going to make sure we give you what you need that doesn't have any of your food allergies in it. So don't ever fear traveling abroad, because realistically, the only fear that you should have is when you travel abroad and come back home, because the quality of food here, not only does it taste terrible compared to over there, but the amount of stuff that they pack into it here versus there is way worse. Another tip, Google Translate, okay? They have a little app that you can get, it's Google Translate, and you can actually have a scanner on your phone to go up to all of your different things and see what the actual ingredients are. You can even take a picture of the ingredients, and if you can't figure out what the words are, whether it's soy, egg, dairy, whatever it is, you can take a picture of it and highlight on the actual app itself on the picture, and it will translate what the word actually says and what the word actually is. Now, I can speak firsthand. I have never traveled to a country where somebody did not speak English. It was one of the most stressful things for me until I realized that app was fantastic. So I was going through, and there's a section in Italy, it's called I think it's Biologic. Bio, it's green. I'm like, green's probably good. I'm just going to go over into this direction. And it was. And so we would take pictures of it, and we'd analyze it. We looked like just out of town Americans trying to take pictures of things so that way we can get it and analyze it to see if we were allowed to have that particular food. So as we were doing that, we were able to pinpoint what our food allergies were. If you grabbed the beer or if you grabbed the wine, it had on the back of the label. I mean, we were just in heaven knowing that these food allergies were written directly on the label for us. The other thing, I'm still in the process of finding it, is the house that we were in Italy. We had a cook that was on staff, and that cook was actually cooking for us, and they made a lasagna dish that was dairy-free. And I don't know how they did it, but the cheese that they used melted flawlessly, and it tricked everyone in the entire family to the point where I pulled the guy aside and said, "Are you sure that this was dairy-free? Because if it isn't, then my wife is going to be giving that inflammation to my kid, and it's going to be bad news for all of us." He was like, "No," he's like, "just don't tell anybody, because people have a negative preconceived notion whenever it comes to dairy-free, because they think it's going to taste terrible." Well, in the States it does, but overseas it doesn't. So what I wanted to basically pass off to is, if you're going to be traveling abroad and you know what your food allergies are, make sure you bring your list with you so that way you can have it memorized or take a picture of it before you go. And then make sure you download the Google Translate app, or just figure out what the words are of what you're allergic to. And they will take it very, very, very seriously for you. If they don't, you're probably in a bad country to begin with. But that was, again, and we were in Toronto, we were in Montreal, they took it seriously. London, they took it very seriously. Florence, they took it very seriously. And Rome, they took it very seriously. Even in the airport in Rome, they had allergies on the menus outside of the restaurants before you even went in there. It would tell you what the allergies were and if you could go and eat that food. So, long story long, we're back in the States. We had an amazing time overseas. It's amazing being able to dive into other people's culture. It sucks coming back, realistically, because again, people in the United States tend to eat horribly. The quality of food's terrible, so so it does make you want to cook even more for yourself. It's kind of what Megan and I do anyhow, but I wanted to share that. So the to-do list is get your food allergies tested, take a picture of your food allergies, download Google Translate, and figure out where you need to go so that way you can get that, you can figure out what the language is going to be that you can download to that app. Now the other thing on top of that you could potentially do as well is, if you're going overseas and you're going to have a place that you're staying, you can stay in a hotel room, but we personally prefer, even though we don't get points for it, whatever, we personally prefer getting an Airbnb with a kitchen. So even if you can't find a place that you can get food that you're not allergic to, you can go and grab a whole bunch of groceries, cook your own food with some really healthy sources, so that way you can get the good quality food that you need and you know exactly what's going into it. So that being said, we're back. Go travel abroad. If you do, love it, enjoy it, because it's amazing. So thanks for tuning in, and I will talk to y'all later.